guys, welcome back to Wolf Sister Reviews. I'm your host, Jess.
And I'm Minnie. Today we're going to go over the show called The Adam Project, which can be found on Netflix.
So we've got another time travel movie on our hands. Did you see the intro all over the internet that showed, I should have done my research so I could get his name right.
Ryan Reynolds?
No.
The little kid?
No, they did one of the previews that they did, like the trailers they did, was Doc from Back to the Future.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. So I kind of thought, I expected maybe he was going to be in the movie and they were going to tie that to the movie somehow, because that's one of my all-time favorite movies, and so I was excited about that. But anywho, like she said, Ryan Reynolds, though, it stars Ryan Reynolds, which was exciting. It was a great cast.
Yep.
In fact, the most notable thing that I noticed almost right away was I felt like it was a sequel to 13 Going on 30.
Right?
Anybody who's seen 13 Going on 30, same mom, same dad, except in 13 Going on 30, she's 13 and she travels through time and becomes her 30-year-old self. And then it, tells the story of how she ultimately ends up with, the guy who's the dad in this movie.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, no, so they just, they got older, changed their names or whatever, and moved to another town and had a baby.
Yep.
And it made sense for them to change their name because he ended up inventing time travel. So they probably changed their name to prevent, anybody finding them and all this work he was doing. I was like, it's totally like a sequel. And then sure enough, all over social media, I start seeing posts from Jennifer, the actress, like doing posts like, this is our, because the names was Jenna. Jenna was her name on the show, and she was like, Jenna's baby, was Ryan Reynolds, and they put a little picture of Ryan Reynolds on her shoulder between her and Mark Ruffalo, and it was just super cute. I was like, I wasn't the only one that noticed this is a sequel.
Yeah. So, like she said, it's just about time travel. It's about trying to stop certain things from happening in the future. So they go back in time to fix those things and whatnot. That's a pretty good explanation of everything without giving too much away.
Right.
But what was the little boy's name? Not his name as a character, but like...
I don't know.
Okay.
In fact, this movie wasn't very notable for me. I mean, and we've done time travel shows before.
Yeah.
And in comparison to other time travel shows and even standalone, like the chemistry was not there for me. There wasn't enough connection made between the characters. The pace of the movie was too fast. Even the parts where they slowed down, they just turned it into a comedy, like a comedy moment rather than like here, connect with the character moment or let anybody connect with each other. So, and I felt like most of the conversations were very one-sided.
Yeah.
Everybody was just entering the scene to say blah, 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 and then exit the scene.
Yeah. So the little boy's name, I just looked it up because I forgot. Sorry, guys. It is Walker Scobell. Scobell?
Oh, that's his
I don't know.
name in real life.
That's the little boy's name. So to me, this little boy, he reenacted Ryan Reynolds as a younger child so excellently. I mean, the mannerisms, the way they just talked, it was like this little boy had watched every Ryan Reynolds movie ever and just adapted his personality to who Ryan Reynolds is.
I'll give him that.
I thought that he did an excellent job at being him in a different version, a younger version that may not have the same knowledge as Ryan Reynolds as an adult, but like he definitely depicted a younger Ryan Reynolds, and I was like, this kid had to have like researched the hell out of Ryan Reynolds to be that good, to do that well at portraying him as a younger version.
Even the parts where I expected the kid would laugh because Ryan was, the character was obviously making jokes.
Yeah,
he didn't laugh. He just had the same demeanor as him because he was him. I'm over here laughing the time when he was like cleaning his wound and it farted and he was like, oh, it farts. And he just kind of says it casually and I was laughing, but the kid, of course, is just like looking over at him, like nothing. And I'm just like, come on, that was like perfect delivery.
Yeah.
Because then he kept pressing on the wound and making it fart. Like,
that was funny.
And, and that's what little boys, find hilarious, or should I say little kids do.
Yep.
And, but he did a really great job.
But a lot of this film for me was a lot like, it kind of went into a lot of like what, what you like to do, where you put on your like psychology glasses in other videos that we've done. I felt like this was more about like that than anything else.
Oh yeah.
More about like mental health and more about how he, you know, he's not supposed to change time, but just the like when the bullies showed up and he's like, you got to do this or they're not going to leave you alone.
The movie to me was about his journey to self-acceptance.
Yes.
His journey to accepting his life as it was.
Yes.
Because no matter how time travel came to be in the picture, he still had the same people in his life, so he was still going to have the same problems. That wasn't going to change that. Nothing he did was going to change that. And I had no connection moments until the very end when Mark Ruffalo saved everything for me with his little speech. And even though there was a moment during his speech that I almost laughed because Mark Ruffalo delivered it in such a way that I was waiting for Mark Reynolds to make a joke out of it.
Ryan Reynolds?
What did I say?
You said Mark Reynolds. You mixed their names.
I mixed Mark and Ryan. Well, you know, when Ryan Reynolds, I was waiting for Ryan to make a joke out of it. Yeah. But Mark Ruffalo was like zoning in on him like, I love you, kid. Like, you don't get it, do you? Because he wouldn't believe. So it was this self-discovery, this journey of accepting like, yeah, my dad loves me. Yeah, your dad does love you and he's telling you and you're not wanting to hear him because you're so hurt because of past events and things that have happened in your life.
I actually loved that moment.
I did.
Because he didn't leave it alone at like the one, I love you.
Yeah.
He made my son. And he just kept saying, I love you. I love you. I love you.
He kept saying it until he was sure that Ryan Reynolds was hearing him
and accepting the fact that he loved him. And I really liked that part. I thought that was a very like, you know, a special moment.
Like, at first he was just like, you could say it all day, I don't buy it. But he kept saying it like, do you hear me? Like, he was to get through and break through those walls that he'd put up. And so I agree. It was very much that kind of a journey, even though it was hard to tell that's what the journey was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the whole beginning of the show just was so slow. And because I felt like, all right, they're telling us what we're going to expect for the show.
Yeah.
And then when he tells him what he's there for, and you see the picture, you think he's there to save his wife. I was like, okay, here's what's happening. But then everything went so fast. Like I said, every conversation was one-sided.
Definitely liked the fighting scenes, though. Like, I loved the moment when...
Want to see something cool?
What's her bucket?
And then he grabbed his lightsaber.
Right? He's like, it is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I laughed at that. But no, what's her name? She plays Gamora.
Oh, yes.
What's her name? I'm doing
Gamora!
So good. I'm doing so good at remembering characters' names.
We're great at remembering characters' names. Can you tell we did the research?
We did. We did. It's all gone now. So her character, I love when he, you know, they're there at the house in the big ship and they're like, you just need to come with us, blah, 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 and whatnot. And he's like, no, you killed my wife. And they're fighting and whatever, and then all of a sudden you see her come into the picture, and I was like, uh-oh.
She's alive, yeah.
She's there. She's like there. That. And they start fighting together, and they're like, he's like, you're here. And he starts running towards her, and she just like, whoop, like kills the guy right behind him, and he's all, oh.
You weren't coming.
You weren't coming to run to me. You were just killing the guy behind me.
I did love her character, though. She's probably my favorite character.
Yeah, that fight scene was fun.
Yeah.
But then, of course, like, that part of it was so fast. It just happened so fast, and I didn't like that part.
Me either. I said, there's no connect. Like, they didn't let any connection happen.
They're reunited. They have they're, first of all, running away from the bad guys.
Well, and tell me, like, it was lame the way the bad guys came at them. I mean, basically, they were running away from this little hovering ship the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean,
to be fair, the ship did have a pretty big gun. So,
well, I know, but look, it's 2022, and in comparison to, other movies where there's like these threats of like death coming, and that's why the movie moves fast, and that's why people don't get to reconnect and people don't get to say anything. Like, they hardly had that. Hardly. I mean, they killed everybody standing around them, and then they still didn't take a moment to reconnect and really reunite. So I struggled with that.
Yeah, so the whole, like, them running away from them, and he's like, oh, by the way, this is me. And she's like, you did it. You contacted the past or whatever.
But that was her from the past, too.
No.
Because you found out later that the woman was like, I had to kill his wife twice. So it wasn't her from the future. He had already killed her from his wife in the future. So this was some not necessarily, who knows what time frame exactly that she came from, but it was at some point in the past that she went back, that she then went back further.
No, I think you're misremembering, because she says, "Don't make me have to kill you twice." That's what she says.
No, she tells him, "I had to kill this man's wife twice."
I swear that didn't happen.
I had to kill this man's wife twice. She said that.
Oh, that's because that was the second time she killed her.
The same her?
2020.
But if she killed her in the future, how did she travel back?
She didn't. She thought she killed her the first time.
Oh, she thought she killed her.
Yes. And she didn't kill her. She was hiding out and waiting for him to come back in time to find her. So she was hiding out in that little cabin.
Oh, so when she thought she killed her, she had actually gone back in time to hide.
Yes.
So that's why she thought she was dead.
And she couldn't return to the future because the ship was broken. So she went and found that little cabin and lived in that cabin for 2 years, waiting for him to come back in time to find her.
I got it.
So
I'm up
even
to speed.
had he gone back to 2018, he would have found her as her future self, because that's the time that she went back to and went into hiding.
Got it.
So she was just waiting for him to come back, and she knew he would come back. And so, yeah, it was like, again, it's a little bit confusing because they do go so fast through all of these instances, but that was something that I was able to follow a little bit just because of other stuff that I've seen that's pretty similar.
When I look back on it as a whole, the movie felt like a whole 30 minutes.
Yeah, it really did feel short.
It felt super short.
I think it was 2 hours, though.
I know, but it felt super short, super crammed.
Yeah, because that reunion that they had in the cabin and how they're like making out, and he's like, "I'm going to go," like, what did he say? "I'm going to find somewhere else for my eyes and ears," or something to that effect. Because he's like, "I don't want to watch this. I don't want to see what you guys are about to do." Even though it's him, he's still a kid, and he's like, "Ew, what is this?" They obviously don't show any sex scenes, but you can. We're all adults here. We can put
they're
two and two
making out up against the door,
and they haven't seen each other for years. So again,
he came to save her. So
so they were going to do that, but then like they didn't get time to connect, and they were being attacked again. And she's, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was basically like that was it. That was their reconnection. It was a whole maybe 7 minutes of the show. And then they're apart again.
Wasn't it even that long? I mean, gosh.
I don't know, but 7 minutes feels like a pretty good.
I will give it, when they parted, that was rough. Like, and you could tell how angry he was when she was like, "You have to go."
Yeah.
He really did give a great performance there.
Yeah.
When, struggling to get in the car and drive away, and his reaction to that was good. He did that really well, but.
Yeah. So.
The movie really didn't, really didn't do it for me.
I liked that they wrapped up the ending. I liked that he got to go back and meet her again.
Right, we got to see
and that it was the same scenario that they explained in the beginning of how they met.
That it still happened that way.
Yes, that it still happened the exact same way.
And I did like that they got to throw the ball around with their dad.
Yeah, that was really cute.
That was.
And I love the fact that the little boy, or little Adam, how he, I felt like they both learned something from each other. Big Adam learned from Little Adam. Little Adam learned from Big Adam. And
they were learning from themselves. It was like you said, the self-discovery.
Yes.
And it took the two of them together.
Yes.
With the different perspectives from where they were at in their life to help each other figure it out.
And so I loved that moment when he, the little Adam took into consideration what Big Adam said about, like, you need to give your mom a big hug. You need to this, that, the other. But one last notable part was the bar scene where he's talking to his mom.
That was sweet.
I was having a hard time with that scene because it was so, like, you could see how badly he was hurting to see his mom, and, like, he just wanted her to feel validated. He just wanted her to know, what he couldn't tell her when he was a kid. And I think that was very cathartic for him to be able to say that to her and go through that. And then he leaves, and he doesn't even say, like, "I am your son," or she, he doesn't even let her in on that, but he wanted to make her feel strong. He wanted to make her feel like she can do this. Well,
and unlike all the other movies where they have no idea it's their kid, like Back to the Future, for example, like she has no inkling that like she, like that feeling that you have as a parent knowing that's your child.
Right.
They didn't do that here. Like, she knew, like, something inside, especially once he, like, passed her and she was looking and realized with the jacket and talking to him, she, like, realized something. Maybe not necessarily that it was her son, but she knew that there was this connection. She knew who he was.
Yes. And so I really loved that scene. I did. I think both of them did that very well. And it's been a while since I've seen Jennifer Garner in anything.
So maybe that's what it was, though. Maybe it was the way they put it together, because some of these scenes stand alone were really good.
Right. They were.
And maybe it was the way they put it all together. Maybe, like, the way it was not produced, but what is it called?
Directed?
Maybe the way it was directed, and then how they put the whole film together.
Yeah.
Because when I look back at the film as a whole, I just remember they spent so much time in that damn shed and so much time at the house, just him and his little self talking about nothing, really.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that for a long time. I mean, and I was just waiting for, like, what was going to happen. And then, like, it was really lackluster for me.
I liked the end, though. With, like, when they were with their dad in the basement of that facility.
Okay.
And how she's like, I'll shoot him. And he's like, no, like, do it. I don't care. Mark Ruffalo. He's like, do it. I don't care. And he's, like, standing in front of the atoms. And she shoots the bullet and it, like, because of the magnetic pole.
Yeah, you never understood. And he's like, and you never understood the science.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I liked that. Because then he's like, did you know that was going to happen, Hazel? You said that they were something bullets. Those are made out of this.
Oh, right,
and it's magnetic. He's like,
yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and totally, he was just like, I felt like he was just channeling his Bruce Banner and
right,
like all these other roles he's done. I mean, and I'll watch Mark Ruffalo do whatever, So I love that guy.
I like him a lot. I think he's a really good actor.
I don't really have any other feedback for the show. I mean, how would you rate it?
So I liked it as a whole. There were pieces where I wanted more, and there were pieces where it was like, this. I don't feel like this was necessary for the plot line or the narrative, but okay, that's cool.
It just felt really derivative to me.
Yeah, and so overall, I think I would give it probably a 3 out of 5, just because I did like it more than I didn't like it, but I wouldn't say this is the best thing I've ever seen. You should go watch it, right? I'd
have to give it 2. I gave it 2 stars.
Okay, so. I mean,
you guys should work at it. Give us another good time travel movie, guys.
Right, because they did wrap that up.
So I do love time travel. It's great. There's just so many possibilities. I watched a really bad time travel movie that maybe we'll have to talk about in the comments. I watched it because it was time travel. Anywho, thanks for joining us today. We have expanded our profile onto Spotify and podcasts. So go ahead if you don't. If you enjoy podcasts over videos, we will be posting there. Yep. Keep an eye out for those. And before we forget, go ahead and like and comment and subscribe down below.
Yeah.
Thank you for following us and for any comments and thoughts.
Yeah.
Keep shining, folks.
Thanks so much. Also, fun little reminder, if there's anything that you want us to watch and review, even if you've seen it and you just want to hear our thoughts on it, if you want us to watch it before you watch it to give you some ideas of what you're to expect, please leave a comment below. We're very eager to watch whatever you guys want us to watch.
We currently watch whatever's popular. We find the most popular thing on television or movies, and we try to focus in on those.
Yeah.
This time we tried to focus in on this one because it was a comedy, and we had some requests to review a comedy.
Yep.
And while this was kind of a comedy, it wasn't. I do not note it for any I don't note it for its comedy.
Yeah, it was a little funny.
It had some funny moments. It's Ryan Reynolds, but we'd love to watch some older movies. When I say older, from the 80s. Right. We'd love to watch stuff from the 80s, any era, really. Even if we've seen it before, just to give a review. There's stuff I've been dying to review just because, and maybe we'll do that here as things pick up. But we're excited to hear from you guys as this continues on. So,
yep. So have a great month. We'll see you next time.